South Florida is the home to American Top Team, and its founder, Dan Lambert, has taken over the MMA world with a talented world-class ensemble of fighters. Now he is turning his attention to pro wrestling, and he is aligned with two top world-class professionals in that world. They are elite, all elite wrestling's men of the year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. And here is Scorpio Sky. Thank you so much. AEW will be returning to Miami for two big shows. But before we get to that, what has it been like with Ethan Page and now also with Dan Lambert?
Well, I think the record speaks for itself. We have not lost since we've teamed up with Dan Lambert. We've actually dominated anyone in and out of the ring that we've come encounter with. And I think it's a testament to not only our talent, but Dan Lambert's eye for talent with his wrestlers and his fighters. Nobody really wants to mess with people when they're rolling with Andrei Arlovsky or Junior Dos Santos, Jorge Masvidal, Paige Van Zandt. The list goes on and on and on. And we're going to be a force to be reckoned with, man. We're not playing around.
Or Ethan Page or Scorpio Sky.
That's right.
Hey, have you ever been to American Top Team?
No, I'm actually looking forward to getting out there. When we get to the Miami area, get out there, get some training in, roll around with the guys a little bit, have some fun. I haven't actually been able to train for quite a while, so it's going to be cool to knock a little bit of the rust off.
Well, you've trained in MMA. So what was it like for you to compete in that world?
I loved training and fighting in MMA. I've been an MMA fan my entire life. It was something I always wanted to do. Pro wrestling was my first choice. Obviously, it was my first love. So that's the direction I went in. But I feel had I dedicated the time to mixed martial arts that I had dedicated to wrestling, then I could have excelled. It's something that I caught on with really, really fast, and I enjoyed it. And then again, I go back to it. Numbers show the numbers don't lie. And I had a pretty good record when I was doing it.
What was the transition like from MMA to pro wrestling?
It wasn't that hard of a transition for me. I'm like a very competitive person. I have like this maniacal drive that I'm always trying to push myself, and so what it is just dedicating yourself to a craft. And I'm very good at compartmentalizing and not going into a gym and thinking, this is how pro wrestling is. No, I'm going to go into a gym and really not even a gym, like whatever I decide to do, I'm going to go into it with a clean slate, with the mindset of this is something that I know nothing about. So I'm just going to be a sponge and I'm going to absorb whatever anyone tells me. And that goes across the board, whether it be athletics or whatever it might be. So the transition really wasn't too difficult. And, when you've been watching something your entire life as well, you kind of always watch and break film. So it was easy to pick up on most of the aspects of the fight game for me.
AEW will be in South Florida. And you mentioned that while AEW's here, you might be able to go over to American Top Team. I'm curious, Scorpio Sky, have you heard anything about that facility? It is one of the top facilities in the world. And Scorpio, compared to where maybe you trained, because a lot of places were very small training facilities for MMA. I can't speak for any of them or all of them, only who I've spoken to. American Top Team is this huge facility. I don't know if you've heard anything about the actual facility.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it has a reputation that speaks for itself. It's one of the top gyms in the world, and the fighters that come out of that gym show it. They are all animals, they're monsters, and they're world champions. So, the reputation speaks for itself. I have trained in some small, dirty, old grunge gyms, and I've been in some nice gyms as well. So, it's a little bit of fun each way. It doesn't really matter as long as you get the work done, because it doesn't matter how clean and nice the gym is. The grind is always dirty.
We've seen pro wrestlers transition to MMA, and we've also seen MMA fighters transition, like yourself, to pro wrestling. Is there anyone in particular at American Top Team who has caught your eye, even in this short little window of time that you're saying, hey, you know what? This person may have a chance to try something like what we're doing at All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Jorge Masvidal, he is a pro wrestler, man. He can do it. He gets it. I kind of talked to him a little bit, and just the way he, even in the fight game, is a fan favorite. He's got a little bit of character. He's got a lot of swag, and he kicks ass. So I mean, that's what you want to be a professional wrestler. Somebody else, Paige Van Zant. I think if Paige Van Zant wanted to get into the wrestling business, she would immediately shoot straight to the top. She would be very, very good at it. Obviously, she's a monster athlete. She's got the look. She's got the charisma. And then, somebody else that might surprise you is Junior Dos Santos. I think he is a wrestling fan and didn't even know it. And he's been having a lot of fun with us. And I think if he decided to cross over and jump into the wrestling business, Kenny Omega, the world championship, the heavyweight championship, you might have to watch out because he's got knockout power.
Well, those are three big names, and it was so great to see you all come together at AEW Rampage, Grand Slam in New York, huge event, 21,000 plus fans, and you all just kicked ass going against Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, and the Men of the Year came out on top, and then afterwards, you had all the ATT support come out, and some of those that you mentioned like that. What was it like for you in that event, in front of that huge crowd, and just that whole spectacle that happened?
Well, it was an amazing day. It was, I believe, the biggest crowd AEW has ever had. It was a sold-out building. I mean, it was huge. I'm not sure if pro wrestling has even ever been at Arthur Ashe Stadium. It may have been the first time ever, so that's historic in itself. And to be on the card is something special because there's only limited spots you can have in situations like that. So to be on the card is one thing. But we went into it with a game plan. We said, hey, this is a big show. Let's make a statement tonight. Win, lose, or draw, we know what we're going to do at the end of this. And that's we're going to go in there and we're going to kick ass and make a statement. We're going to show all with the fighters. We're going to show the strength of the Men of the Year and American Top Team. But the icing on the cake was we also got the W. So we got the W. We won the battle and the war.
And it was just so awesome to see that. It was such a great 2 nights of action. And speaking of 2 nights, AEW will do a doubleheader right here in South Florida and Miami, returning to the James L. Knight Center. You have AEW Dynamite. Oh, AEW, no, let me get it straight. AEW Rampage on Friday, October 15th from the James L. Knight Center. And then AEW Dynamite, special Saturday night edition, October 16th, again at the James L. Knight Center. And y'all were here when AEW returned to touring. It all started at the James L. Knight Center in Miami with fans. And that was a special night and a big event. What can you tell us specifically about AEW Rampage, which is where you had the big win over Jericho and Hager in New York? What can you tell us about that show first? That'll be here Friday night at the James L. Knight Center. And just fans are so passionate for AEW. What are you expecting from that night?
I'm expecting fireworks, man. Same thing that we have every week. It feels like every single week AEW just takes it to the next level, man. And we've had a lot of stars come in, which have made it very, very easy. It's must-see TV. You miss a minute, you don't know what's going to happen. The next and every single segment is as good or better than the last. So it's something that you definitely have to pay attention to. And getting a double header, what more can you ask for? One city, there's been a lot of cities that they have not got AEW yet. Out here in Southern California, or in California in general, we have not got AEW yet. I'm jealous. I know all of my statesmen are jealous. But AEW, Florida, Miami, you're getting 3 AEW shows in a short span of time. So I hope you appreciate it. I hope you show 4, right? Yeah, that's right. So I hope you appreciate it. I hope you show up. And you're going to enjoy yourself.
It's amazing because Orlando is going to be hosting the next week. We're here to talk about Miami, but still such a big time. UCF College Campus has a nice facility up there in Orlando, so the AEW will be back for that the following week. But specifically Miami, have you ever wrestled before in Miami prior to AEW? And What are your thoughts of just the South Florida market for pro wrestling?
I've absolutely wrestled in Miami before. I love Miami. You know, I mean, as a one half of the minute of the year, there's a lot of fashion in Miami. Um, I don't party like I used to, but the party scene is fantastic. I know I'm getting away from the whole wrestling side. The wrestling side, you already know what I'm going to do inside the ring. But I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do outside the ring. And that's, the shopping is fantastic. The party scene is fantastic. The beaches are great. Miami is, I'm a Southern California guy through and through. But if I had to pick a second home, Miami might be it.
Well, it really is. It's just and it's a melting pot down here too. And gosh, the fans are so passionate all over for AEW, but in Miami, it's really good to see that passion come out. And I know you all talk about that, and I'm just curious, what is it like from someone that fans or myself never experienced getting into that ring? And yes, it's about having a great match, but just having that crowd and how that just motivates you when you're going through a match.
People don't realize, stepping behind the curtain for a second, people don't realize not only, for one, the privilege that we have to be able to perform on the largest stage week in and week out. It's something that I personally do not take for granted. But at the same time, there's pressures, and there are a lot of elements to this game. Not only you have to go in the ring, you're thinking about beating your opponent, but you want to look good doing it. You want to have your eye on the cameras, figuring out where those are. When it's live TV, you got to make sure that, you have to stay within certain parameters of things that you cannot do on live TV that you could do in live events, non-televised events, or even taped shows. So there's a lot to it. That's just a little bit of a preview. And that's why only the highest caliber performers make it to the top and stay at the top. So it's a lot that goes into it. But again, I have to emphasize that it's a privilege, and it's something that pretty much most of us grew up dreaming of doing. And the fact that we are getting to do it on a larger stage for a company like All Elite Wrestling, you couldn't ask for anything better.
Well, Scorpio Sky, it's interesting to me that you see someone like a Dan Lambert, who's a name in MMA, founder of this great American Top Team, getting involved in All Elite Wrestling. I'm curious what your thoughts are. He just seems very well spoken and can cut a great promo. That's from an outsider's perspective. I'm just wondering your thoughts, as I know he's had some pro wrestling background in the past. Not a lot, but some. Just your thoughts on him and just grabbing that mic and being able to do what he's been able to do so far in AEW.
He's a natural. Dan's a natural. This guy, you could tell he has a gift of gab, and he's so polarizing. The fact that some of the fans love him and the other side of the fans absolutely despise him and don't even want him on the show. That's how you're doing something right. Because, people can talk about heat or go away heat and all that sort of thing. Hey, man, this guy is getting people to pay attention. And standing next to someone that is doing that, guess what? That spotlight that's on him is also shining on me. So I appreciate it.
Now, we've seen Jake Hager, who also is involved in MMA. He's fought for Bellator. We saw him have an MMA match on AEW. And I'm curious what your thoughts were of that. And would that be something you would consider, having an MMA fight in AEW against him?
Professional MMA fighter, Bellator, undefeated heavyweight. Take anything away from him. I have nothing but respect for Jake Hager. He's a monster. Getting in there with him for the first time, Rampage, it was an intimidating thing. But we don't back down from anybody. We're the end of the year for a reason. I did see the fight he had on Dynamite. I thought that was a lot of fun. I thought it was really, really cool. I got in the cage for a minute just before the show, just to feel it out, because it's like, okay, I haven't been in a cage for a little while. I want to feel this out. It was an incredible environment. I thought the presentation of it was spectacular. I mean, it looked like an MMA show. So very, very, very well done. And it was an exciting fight they had. And if it's something that I would do, Yeah, absolutely. I would say outside of Jake Hager, there's not too many guys on the AEW roster that want to see me in a fight, in a cage, in an actual cage fight. There's not too many guys that want to see me. Jake Hager and I, there's a good 3 weight classes difference between the two of us. So I would much rather see him step in the ring with somebody like Junior Dos Santos if it's a cage. But if Sammy Guevara wants to put his TNT title on the line in an MMA fight against me, I would love to wipe him out in under 5 minutes.
Hey, Scorpio Sky, a couple more questions. We'll wrap this up, and thank you for the time. So you're in California. So I'm wondering, are you a Dodgers Lakers fan?
You already know. Listen, if you are in Southern California and you aren't a Lakers fan and a Dodgers fan, man, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how you were brought up. I don't really know, why. Maybe if you're an outsider, that's one thing. But if you grew up here, man, you better be a Laker fan. You better be a Dodger fan. You got to support us. And hey, we won the championship the same year. 2020 was a great year for Lakers fans and Dodgers fans. And I have a feeling 2022 is going to be another good year.
And I'll get these in quickly because I wanted to ask you about MMA a little more. Did you have any favorite MMA fighters when you were younger, going through the process?
Absolutely. Junior Dos Santos was one of my favorite fighters. I mean, he was so exciting to watch. Because I'm someone that loves striking. I love striking. I love boxing in particular. I grew up a big boxing fan. And so Junior Dos Santos, I mean, when he would come out there and he'd always have great fights. So getting to work with him has been awesome because I was a huge fan of his. Anderson Silva is somebody that I just strongly looked up to. He's one of my favorite fighters. Randy Couture, Rashad Evans, George St. Pierre. Guys like that, those are the guys, the styles that I tried to kind of pattern myself after, and those are the guys I gravitated to. I love those fighters.
Well, Scorpio Sky, it's interesting because some of them have transitioned to boxing. It seems like boxing's become a big thing to navigate with other athletes from other sports, basketball, football, combat sports. Later on down the road, or even closer down the road, would you consider something like that a boxing type match?
100%. Yes. I love boxing and it's something I want to do. MMA was on my list of things I wanted to do. I love the sport and I got to do it. I had 4 fights. I had a number of Muay Thai competitions that I competed in. But also boxing is something that I want to do. And I haven't had a chance to do a traditional boxing fight. So that's something hopefully I'll get to do at some point down the line.
We mentioned the Lakers, and Shaquille O'Neal was on a huge AEW show tag teaming with Jay Cargill against Red Velvet and Cody Rhodes. And I'm wondering, did you get to meet Shaq then? Have you met Shaq prior to that?
I didn't talk to him that day. He was pretty busy. It's very intimidating when you're getting in the ring for the first time. So I didn't really want to mess with him too much. I think I was probably pretty busy that day as well. So I didn't get a chance to talk to him then. I'm almost positive I have met him before, though. I don't have any memories that stand out. So it was probably a brief interaction. But yeah, just having Shaq on the show was great. Lakers legend. His jersey is retired in the Raptors at Staples Center. He's a 3-time NBA champion with the Lakers, 4 total.
That's right. One with the Miami Heat. Scorpio Sky, one with the Miami Heat.
3 with the Lakers, 4 total, 1 with the Heat. I'm not hating, but at that time when he won the championship with the Heat, it wasn't a good time for us Laker fans to see him get that championship. So it was tough, but it's okay. It's all right. Kobe got 5.
And gosh, and then lastly with that, I'm curious too, going back with Shaq, would you rather be a tag team partner with him or go against him?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to team with Shaq. Listen, I watched Kobe and Shaq win 3 NBA championships together. So if you're asking me if I had the opportunity to stand on the side of Big Diesel against anybody, that's what I'm going to do. I want to be, Shaq is Scorpio Sky, man. That's a move right there. I think that's hot. We should make it happen. I'm ready.
Oh, that would be great.
But let me just say this, actually. He can't replace Ethan Page. That's my guy, men of the year. So we might have to do a 6-man tag. Especially, I'd love to see Shaq in one of Ethan Page's wild-looking T-shirts.
Trios titles.
Let's go.
So, and with that, hey, that would be great to see. And of course, it would be great to see that on either AEW Rampage or AEW Dynamite. And both those shows will be in Miami in October, October 15th and 16th at the James L. Knight Center. It's going to be 2 huge nights of action. And specifically, we're talking about AEW Rampage on the Friday night. And what's cool, Scorpio Sky, to wrap this up and get you out of here, AEW Dark Elevation and AEW Dark are taped most of the times. Rampage with Dynamite as the schedule coordinates. So we're probably going to see some of those matches as well when AEW comes to Miami for these 2 big nights. Lastly, I'll just let you go on this. What are your thoughts of AEW Dark Elevation and AEW Dark? Those are 2 really cool shows on AEW YouTube, promoting a lot of young talent you guys get to work with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, those are great platforms for people to get opportunities, and actually a lot of people have been hired from those opportunities. So it's great. If I was a professional wrestler that did not work for AEW, I would be looking to get on AEW Dark or Dark Elevation. That would be the goal. That's where you want to be. That's where the eyes are going to be on you. And then you'll have an opportunity to hopefully move on to Dynamite and Rampage. And even myself, someone who is a full-time roster member, I appreciate the opportunities I get to be on those shows, because it's any ring time you get is good. It's good to get reps. We have a very, very, very deep roster. And gives you an opportunity to bring, and we've got a whole lineup of shows, and that's something that's great when it comes to Rampage. A lot of people might be hesitant to buy tickets, say, "Oh, it's a 1-hour show. I don't know if I want to pay for a 1-hour show." No, you're going to get a full night of action. You're getting Rampage, you're getting Dark, you're getting Dark Elevation. You're going to see a whole lot of wrestling and great matches. And you're going to be very, very entertained.
Well, Scorpio Sky, thank you for the time. I know you have your own podcast, I believe, and also your social media. So if you want to give a plug for those, please have at it.
Well, I'm taking a little bit of a break from the podcast, Wrestling with the Week. It was a lot of fun. We did 2 seasons. I am looking to come back. However, just taking a little bit of a break. But definitely follow me on social at Scorpio Sky on Twitter and Instagram. I'm always doing some cool stuff. Done a few giveaways on there as far as action figures go and things of that nature. Have a lot of fun. So make sure you're paying attention and follow.